Welcome to AI True Crime. Today, we unravel a tale so scandalous and chilling it seems more like a twisted novel than a real-life event. This is the story of Cordelia Botkins, a woman who weaponized a box of chocolates to deliver a lethal dose of poison across 3,000 miles. It's a case involving forbidden love, betrayal, and a meticulously planned murder that would leave the nation stunned. In an age of Victorian propriety, Cordelia Botkins shattered societal norms with a crime as audacious as it was cold-blooded. Her method? Exploiting the emerging postal system to send death directly into her rival's home. Today, we'll explore the depths of her obsession, the cunning behind her scheme, and how one woman's vengeance turned a simple act of kindness into a deadly weapon. 2. Setting the scene. San Francisco's Gilded Age. To understand this tale of deadly desire, we need to step into San Francisco at the end of the 19th century. This was the Gilded Age, a time when the city was a magnet for the wealthy, the ambitious, and the restless. San Francisco, with its grand mansions, glittering parties, and secretive underworld, was a place where fortunes could be made and lost overnight. It was a city of contradictions. On the surface, a beacon of wealth and progress. Beneath, a labyrinth of vice and scandal. Cordelia Botkins thrived in this world. She was a woman of grace, intelligence, and charm, a socialite who could command attention in any room. But behind her poised exterior lay a woman dissatisfied with the role society had carved out for her. By the 1890s, Cordelia was living separately from her husband, an unusual arrangement for the time that granted her a degree of freedom and independence. She moved through San Francisco's social circles with ease, drawn to the city's fast-paced lifestyle and the thrill of the forbidden. It was against this backdrop of luxury and excess that Cordelia's path crossed with John Dunning, a man who would become both the object of her desire and the catalyst for her descent into murder. 3. The illicit affair. John Dunning was the kind of man who could ignite desire with a glance. Handsome, charismatic, and adventurous, he was a journalist with the Associated Press, a profession that gave him a certain roguish allure. John was married to Mary Elizabeth Lizzie Dunning, and while he wore the veneer of a family man, his appetites extended far beyond the bounds of marital fidelity. He was drawn to the excitement of the forbidden, and when he met Cordelia in 1895, the chemistry between them was instantaneous. For Cordelia, John represented everything she craved: adventure, passion, and a defiance of societal norms. Their affair was conducted in secret, a whirlwind of stolen moments and whispered confessions. Cordelia was captivated, not just by John himself, but by what he symbolized: an escape from the mundane, a life filled with the thrill of the unconventional. She envisioned a future where they could be together openly, free from the constraints of society. But as is often the case with such torrid affairs, the reality was far less romantic than the fantasy. For John, the relationship was a thrilling diversion, not a permanent escape. He had no intention of leaving his wife and child for Cordelia. By 1898, the thrill had worn off for him. He was ready to return to Delaware, to reconcile with Lizzie, and to put the affair behind him. For Cordelia, this was not just the end of an affair. It was a devastating betrayal that would ignite her darkest impulses. 4. Plotting revenge. The deadly scheme. Cordelia Botkins was not a woman who accepted rejection. When John left her, the humiliation and rage boiled over into a desire for revenge. She was determined to make him suffer, and in her twisted mind, the most effective way to hurt John was to target his wife. Cordelia's thoughts turned to murder, and she devised a plot as cunning as it was cruel. If she couldn't have John, then she would make sure his life and the life of his wife was destroyed. Arsenic was her weapon of choice, a common household substance at the time. Arsenic was colorless, tasteless, and deadly. It was often used as rat poison, making it readily available to those who knew how to wield it. But Cordelia didn't just want to poison her rival. She wanted to do it in a way that would haunt John forever. She decided to use chocolates, a symbol of love and affection, as the vehicle for her deadly revenge. Cordelia purchased a box of chocolates from a local confectioner. It was an elegant selection, the kind of gift one might send to express admiration or friendship. She took the chocolates home and, with a calculated hand, laced each piece with arsenic. This was not a crime of passion. It was a premeditated act, meticulously planned to deliver death in the guise of a sweet treat. Cordelia then penned a note. With love to yourself and baby, Mrs. C. The note was deliberately ambiguous, designed to disarm any suspicion. She carefully wrapped the chocolates and the note in a parcel, addressing it to Mrs. John Dunning in Dover, Delaware. In doing so, she turned the postal system into her weapon, sending death across the country in a box that would appear to be a simple gesture of kindness. The parcel was sent, and with it, Cordelia's murderous intentions began their journey. 5. The deadly arrival. In the quiet town of Dover, Delaware, the arrival of a package from San Francisco was a curious but welcome surprise. Lizzie Dunning received the box of chocolates with a mixture of curiosity and delight. It was not uncommon to receive gifts in this manner, especially among those who moved in social circles where such gestures were the norm. The note seemed friendly, if a bit vague, and gave no hint of the malice it concealed. Lizzie shared the chocolates with her family, including her sister, Mrs. Joshua Dean. They indulged in the sweets, savoring the rich flavors, blissfully unaware of the poison they were consuming. The effects of arsenic poisoning began to manifest within hours. What started as a mild discomfort rapidly escalated into a horrifying ordeal of nausea, vomiting, and intense pain. The family members were struck down with what appeared to be a sudden, mysterious illness. Doctors were called to the Dunning household, but despite their efforts, the nature of the illness eluded them. Lizzie and her sister suffered the most, their conditions worsening with each passing hour. The chocolates, which had been a source of pleasure, were now the agents of their suffering. Both women succumbed to the poison within days, their deaths leaving the Dunning household in a state of shock and despair. It was a tragedy that seemed to defy explanation, until the true nature of the chocolates was discovered. 6. Unmasking the killer, the investigation begins. The sudden and violent deaths of Lizzie and her sister triggered an investigation that would unravel a web of intrigue and malevolence. The autopsies revealed that both women had died from arsenic poisoning. The chocolates, now the prime suspect, were tested and found to be laced with the deadly substance. This was no accidental poisoning. It was a carefully planned murder. Attention turned to the package itself. The note signed Mrs. C. was cryptic yet personal, suggesting a connection to the Dunning family. The postmark traced the parcel back to San Francisco, and as the authorities dug into John Dunning's life, they uncovered the affair with Cordelia Botkins. Here was a woman with motive, means, and the opportunity to commit such a crime. The evidence began to stack up against her. Witnesses in San Francisco recalled Cordelia's behavior in the days leading up to the murder. Some had seen her purchase chocolates. Others remembered her inquiries about arsenic. Each piece of testimony added another nail in the coffin of her defense. Cordelia was arrested, and the stage was set for one of the most sensational trials in American criminal history. 7. The trial, seduction, scandal, and cold-blooded murder. Cordelia Botkins' trial in 1899 became a national spectacle, drawing intense media attention. The courtroom was packed with spectators eager to witness the drama unfold. It was a case that had everything: an illicit love affair, a vengeful woman, and a murder method that turned an innocent gift into a deadly weapon. The prosecution painted Cordelia as a woman scorned, driven by jealousy and a cold-blooded desire for revenge. They laid out the evidence: the affair, the purchase of chocolates, the arsenic, and the note. The defense attempted to cast doubt on the prosecution's narrative, arguing that the connection between Cordelia and the chocolates was circumstantial. Cordelia herself took the stand, portraying herself as a victim of malicious accusations. But the evidence was damning. The meticulous planning and execution of the murder left little room for doubt. After a short deliberation, the jury found Cordelia Botkins guilty of murder. She was sentenced to life in prison, a sentence that, for many, felt like justice served for such a heinous crime. 8. The aftermath and legacy. Cordelia Botkins spent her remaining years in prison, maintaining her innocence to the very end. She died behind bars in 1910, leaving behind a legacy as one of America's most notorious female murderers. The death by chocolate case remained etched in public memory as a chilling example of how love, jealousy, and revenge can lead to the most extraordinary crimes. It was a case that showcased the dark side of human nature and the dangers of letting obsession cloud judgment. The story of Cordelia Botkins serves as a grim reminder of how seemingly ordinary gestures can conceal malevolent intent. She had weaponized the postal system and a box of chocolates to carry out a murder that was both personal and impersonal, delivering death from afar with a calculated cruelty that shocked the nation. Her crime became a parable for the darker potentials of modern life, a world where even the sweetest of gifts could harbor the deadliest of secrets. 9. Conclusion. Cordelia Botkins' story is a testament to the destructive power of jealousy and the lengths to which a person can go when consumed by the desire for revenge. It reveals how the symbols of love and kindness can be twisted into instruments of death, turning a simple act of generosity into a sinister weapon. Her crime was an attack not only on her rival but on the very nature of trust, exploiting the ordinary to mask an extraordinary evil. If you have thoughts, questions, or suggestions for future episodes, reach out to us at string@gmail.com. We love hearing from our listeners and delving into the darker corners of history with you. In our next episode, we'll venture into the shadowy world of San Francisco's Chinatown tongs, secret societies that ruled the underground with an iron fist, shrouded in mystery and fear. Until then, this has been AI True Crime. The intelligence is artificial, but the crimes are real.